I'm Edmund. I'm one of the student advisors here at Medlink Students. Now, I speak with thousands of students from all walks of life and give them advice and support throughout the exciting medical and dental journey abroad. And we've helped thousands of students, and hundreds of them have gone out to become doctors and dentists and successfully practicing in the UK or their home countries. And our team, we always strive to be helping prospective students and medical students across the globe to fulfill their dreams of becoming doctors and dentists. And tonight, we'll give you all the information that you need to understand how the medical and dental education works in Europe, and also help you on the insights of how other students have done this abroad as well. At the beginning of the webinar, you saw a video of our students who are at the European University in Tbilisi, Georgia. We're incredibly proud of them and grateful that they've trusted and started their journey with us at one of the best medical schools in Europe. And because we know how curious you are and excited to hear more about the student life abroad, we've invited some of the students to come and join us and hopefully share their experiences and inspire you to follow your steps as well. And during this webinar, you'll learn about the opportunities abroad for you. And if you have any questions at all, please leave them and type them in the Q&A section, and our team will do our best to answer them immediately. We'll also have some time to answer them live, some of the questions that you ask. Now, without further ado, I'd like to present to you our speakers for today. So tonight, we've invited expert student advisors from the likes of Tom. We have Osman joining us. We also have Dana, who have helped hundreds of students pursue their dream abroad. We also have Victoria, who's our head of admissions, who will ensure that your application gets the highest chance of the possible outcome at the faculty that you choose. Now, as you can see, we have many students who are brave enough to share their dream with us today and pursue their dreams abroad. And they're here to share their experiences and encourage you to take the next step of becoming a doctor or dentist. Tonight, we'll also share with you the advantages of studying medicine or dentistry abroad, the differences between the medical schools in the UK and the ones abroad, and why many students have chosen to leave their country to study and benefit immensely from the European countries, the educational system that we have, they've benefited in the past few years. We'll also tell you about the admission requirements and some of the best medical schools in Europe. We get a lot of questions about the living costs, the tuition fees, so we'll cover those as well. And we'll tell you how we can help you secure a place at the medical or dental school and give you all the support you need. Now, with every story comes a journey and an idea and also a dream, just like all of you, and a dream of becoming doctors and dentists and not being given the opportunity. And to tell you about how the Medlink Students family started, I'd like to invite Osman, who will tell you a bit more about how we started in our journey. Osman?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's really exciting to see such a huge number of attendees tonight. We're really excited to talk to you today and give you all the information you need to make a good and informed choice on what's best for you. So, who best to help students like you other than doctors, dentists, and students just like you? People who have been through your shoes, through exactly what you're going through right now. People that have studied their high school, struggled to get accepted at home, or decided that they wanted to embark on a journey and an adventure in Europe to explore all the options, all the amazing life, and all that different perspective that you can get as a student, especially during your journey of such a huge discipline like medicine or dentistry. I want to tell you a little bit about how we started, the spirit of our organization, and how we became to set up Medlink Students. As a team of doctors, as a team of students many years ago, we aspired from the UK to come to Europe. We wanted to pursue medicine and dentistry many, many years ago. And we found that it was extremely competitive and there was so many obstacles as well. It was difficult to set up yourself in a completely foreign country that you've never set foot in. And I'm sure all of you are nervous and worried about this, but that's where we come in. That's where we started this organization, because we saw people struggle to get accepted at home with pursuing what they love, what they've always aspired to do, just like you are right now. A lot of people are joining us from all over the planet, all over the world, at different time zones as well, to learn about what opportunities you have, how you can pursue what you love. And that is whether it's medicine or dentistry, something you've dreamt about for so long. Something that we did as well back in the day. I studied dentistry myself. Other people who also were the founders studied medicine. They became doctors and dentists, and they came back home, made their parents proud, made their community proud, and contributed towards the shortage of doctors in their countries. So I commend you for even taking that first step for joining us today. As Medlink students, we're a team inspired by medicine and dentistry to support people like you who are hungry enough to pursue that in a different country. We're the leading organization for supporting students like you for the past few years, looking after you, guiding you, making sure that you're making an informed choice based on facts, accuracy, and transparency. We have support for you on the ground. As soon as you arrive in the university, we will be there with you to look after you, to support you, to make sure you're settling in well. So you can just come and focus on studying medicine or dentistry without having to worry about the hassle of being in a new country. All we will do is focus on you and make sure that we're working all around you to make sure that it's as seamless as possible for you to transition abroad. And that's not to say that you're not going to have some challenges here and there. Of course you will. But that's what we're going to talk about today. And all our students and doctors who have joined us today, they will talk about their challenges and how they overcame their anxieties and their worries and decided to start their journey in medicine. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you very much, Osman. And as you say, we are here to support you throughout every step of the way. And we're also here to give you, the students, and even parents, all the information that you need to make an informed decision about, your child's future. And if you choose to become part of the Medlink Students family, we can proudly say that we will make sure that you get all the support every step of the way. Now, other things that most students we talk to is a concern about whether they'll be able to go back to their home country and become competent doctors. Some of you guys want to know, is it even worth going abroad, or what are really the advantages? What is it going to benefit me going abroad? And there are many advantages of actually studying abroad. And to tell you a bit more about, I'd like to invite our expert student advisor, Dana, who will tell you about the advantages of studying medicine and dentistry abroad and how you can benefit from them. Dana?
Thank you, Edmund. I'd like to welcome everyone here. It's always very inspiring to see hundreds of students coming to learn more about their opportunities to study abroad and continue their journey to achieve their dream and become doctors and dentists. So thank you all for joining and welcome. Today, we're going to discuss the benefits of studying abroad. As you can see on the screen, there are many advantages of studying in Europe. We can talk for hours about the advantages. We're going to focus now on the most popular or most common advantages that students usually mention to me when they go abroad and we hear their feedback. Many students are always happy about the fact that they can study medicine or dentistry in English language. I'm sure you guys here are all considering studying abroad, and one of the concerns is always learning a new language. You're worried about spending 1 year or 2 years learning a new language. Well, in Europe, you have the opportunity to study in English, and the course is fully taught in English. Also, you have the opportunity to apply to unlimited applications. In the UK, for example, you can apply to 4 universities, while in Europe, you can apply to as many universities as you want. In addition to the international student environment, the best part about going to Europe is that you meet students from every corner of the world. You see students from UK, USA, Europe, Asia, Russia, Africa. So there's a huge diversity in Europe. You meet people that you have never thought that you will meet before, and you will learn more about their cultures. In addition to the high quality of education, so especially when it comes to the practical part, many students enjoy the practical experience and the opportunity for the hands-on experience that they get in the hospitals that the universities work with. And the best part about studying in Europe is the flexible admission requirements. Many students don't get in their home country into the medicine or dentistry course because they didn't get the required grades, or they didn't have biology or chemistry in their high school. They didn't have 3 sciences. So in Europe, universities are more flexible. You will have the opportunity to apply whatever you have in your high school. We can take a look at the transcripts that you have and the subjects that you've done, and we can advise you which university you can join. We will always be able to help you find a university to join. Plus, some universities require an exam, an entrance exam. Some have it written, some have oral exams, and some universities don't require an exam. And if the university requires an exam, it's not going to be a very competitive exam as the UK, for example. It's going to be an internal exam for the university that we also can prepare you for. We can help you prepare for this exam. So there's a lot of advantages of studying abroad. The competition is less, many different students from different countries. So I'd like to invite everyone to come abroad and take advantage of this opportunity to achieve your dream. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Dana. And as you say, there are so many, benefits of going abroad. We'll be here forever if we had to talk about all of them. But we encourage you to, stay back and listen to the experiences of the students tonight. Now, there are also other reasons why most students are actually going abroad now, where it's becoming more of a common thing. And that's because it's becoming more and more competitive. There's never been a better time to want to pursue medicine or dentistry. For the medical students, since the pandemic, we've had an increase in students who are now inspired to study medicine. So they're applying. And most of the students aren't given the opportunity. And we'd like to share a few more facts about the state of the medical schools in the UK and how it is and how many people are actually applying abroad. And to tell you a bit more about this, I'd like to invite back Osman to tell you about the medical school and the state of the medical schools in the UK. Osman?
Sure, I'd be happy to tell you more about that. As you all know, applying at home has become a huge obstacle for students, where tens of thousands completely compete ruthlessly for very few places. And this is not just the UK, as you can see here, UK, but also it applies to all over the world. And that's why you're here, I'm sure. The universities usually have to resort to dismissing as many applicants as they can because they're overwhelmed with qualified students who meet their criteria, meet the grades, exceed the experience required. I remember when I was applying in the UK many years ago, before I started in Europe, I met all the entry requirements. And after numerous obstacles, I secured a few interviews. I attended 2 to 3 interviews usually, and even I prepared for interviews by going to courses that were just there to help people like myself who were not so experienced with interviews at 18 years old. And when I arrived at the university, I found I was competing with people and applicants that were interviewing for the 4th or 5th time even. People are applying year after year after year. And these people had rehearsed every single question and memorized every interviewer's responses year after year. I had no chance against these people. I remember I was shocked how many people were applying every year. There were so many mature candidates as well. And they had so much more life experience than me. As an 18-year-old, fresh out of high school, never had a job, barely had any experience to express myself. I struggled a lot with that. And I'm sure you all have as well. And that's why you're considering other options. These people, they were able to answer questions, demonstrate their skills just much more eloquently than a normal 18, 19, 20-year-old. Someone in their 30s, 40s. I was shocked by how much diversity there was. I remember one year I even ticked on the wrong box on one of the application forms. And I was speaking to the university and all they said was, we reject your application. I was devastated. I was calling them nonstop, emailing them, asking them, how come? It's just a box. And they just said, we simply have too many applicants. We cannot consider, they basically need any reason to dismiss and reduce the number of applicants. So it usually costs about £200,000 in the UK for the government for 5 years to train a student to become a doctor, with very limited funding for only a few thousand seats. As much as the UK would like to increase these seats, they simply have no capacity to do so. And as you can see here, the statistics, the NHS is currently in crisis with a desperate need for 50,000 doctors right now. Hence, they resort to recruiting doctors from all over the world, from overseas, from countries like India, Nigeria, because there's so much of a shortage of doctors. The Western countries in general are all in this state. They all need students like you who train abroad and come back to practice and contribute to their healthcare system. So you see here, this is just the UK. It's just one country, one example, but it's very similar trends in almost every single Western country. You see there's fewer UK graduates, fewer UK doctors coming in every year into the healthcare system compared to non-UK graduates. Because some students ask us, will I find a job when I come back? Will I be able to compete against the graduates from my home country? Well, here's your answer. This is very typical for a Western country where they have a huge shortage of doctors and they have to always resort to importing students. I think the slide answers that question for itself. All right, back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Osman. And, you know, this is a very shocking stats to see. And, you know, the National Health Service here in the UK, as beautiful as it is, they are pressured. So, you know, it's prevalent to see that going abroad, you can come back as a confident doctor and be able to practice because the hospitals, they need you. Now, other things that we tend to get asked is, how are the medical schools abroad? You know, how many years will I study for? And how many years will I study dentistry for? And to tell you a bit more about how the dentistry and the medical courses are, I'd like to invite one of our student expert advisors, Tom, who can tell you about how they're broken down and how they are. Tom?
Yeah, thank you, Edmund. So I'm sure for the European students that are listening now, this is probably quite sort of something you're used to seeing as you all do the MD program across Europe. Now, this is the same for all European countries. The program is an MD, obviously for our UK students listening in and for various other countries that are used to different programs, like MBBS, for example. Although they've got different names, they are very similar. The syllabus, the curriculum, the topics covered, everything is very similar. Now, one of the key differences you'll notice is an MD is 6 years rather than the UK's MBBS of 5 years. Now, this is typically split, as you can see, into two halves. So you've got 3 years of mainly theoretical study, and this will include some aspects of practical. You'll have some clinical experiences, and then you'll have your 3 practical years. Now, these are the years when you're going to be in the hospitals, working with patients, doing your rotations, etc. And then in regards to dentistry, it's a very similar story. Now, the main difference with dentistry is some of the courses are done over 5 years and some of them are done over 6 years. Now, this isn't really much difference between. In terms of recognition, they're still widely recognized internationally. It doesn't really matter which amount you do. It's more down to the university's preference. Some of them prefer to teach the program the same length as medicine. Some of them can do a little bit less. And again, you'll find that the initial years will be your theoretical years, where you'll be doing mainly theory. You'll still be witnessing some practicals and some clinical aspects. But then when you're actually doing the direct engagement with the patients and the clinical experience, that will all be done over the later years. Thanks, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. Now, we'd like to use this opportunity actually to invite one of our newest graduates from the European University, Kamar, Dr. Kamar, I'd say. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Would like to say on behalf of the Medlink Students team and everyone here, congratulations on graduating, and you're actually now registered with the GMC. How did you find your studies at the university?
First of all, thank you for your appreciation. And regarding the registration, like university helped a lot. Why? Because the majority of the work should be done from the university, and the rest of the part should be done from my side. So we had a meeting, few meetings on the Zoom call, and we were like, we had few discussions which were not settled, but we eventually made them a better option for the betterment of the students, the upcoming students. Why? Because we, for the first time when we do a registration, it's not just for me, right? It's for everyone. So we made a point on that basis, and we made some ups and downs, and at the end of the day, we got the PNP registration.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And obviously we know that studying medicine is never an easy feat. So when you were studying as a student, how was your experience? Can you tell us a bit more about how that was for you?
That was a fascinating experience, I would say. Why? Because we had challenges each and every moment, each and every step. Why? Because we were the first batch in our university as an international students, and our university had to make things, and they had to make up for us, so that we don't have to like disobey or dissatisfied from the university. So they did each and everything to make us satisfied. And we now, after completing our graduation, we proudly say that the university has made up to us, and we are satisfied with it. Because we have seen the university going through the changes for us, especially for the students, for the benefits of the students, to be precise. So when I entered in my first year, we had a lot of questions, queries, doubts, everything in our mind that the university is registered or not, whether we will have a proper clinical knowledge, or the teachers, how they'll be. Most importantly, the language one. Will the teachers in English, or they do know very well English, or they'll speak us in their own language. But when the time passes by, we came to know that the faculty is too friendly, and they are so nice that they taught us each and everything in English, and even they taught us their own language. Now, eventually, at the end of our graduation, each and every student from our batch knows the local language very well. We can communicate with the local, like a native speaker as a native speaker, and so I would say the faculty helped us a lot. From not only from the perspective of the education, also from the communication basis also.
Oh, fantastic, thank you. And how was something we get asked quite a lot as well about students that go abroad, as you've experienced, is the practical aspect of it, the rotations in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a bit more about your experience, and whether you managed to get to even see patients and in the hospital, and how that was for you?
Well, there was a funny, probably say for us, we used to call our batch as an experimental batch. Why? Because we are the first batch, so but it's not like a practical one. But whenever we have something new, we were very excited. Why? Because it's the first time, and we are the first batch. So the university made up for us, and they never left a thing back, which we are regretting today. So the university fulfilled everything. Coming to the whether it's a rotation, or whether it's a patient interaction, or having a physical examination with the patient, we have done each and everything which is required for practical knowledge for a student.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamar. I'm sure you're looking forward to working in the UK. We can't wait to see how your journey goes. And just one final question as well. Sure. How would you say you found I know you explained it earlier, but the registration overall in the UK with the Medical Council, did you find that was a smooth process with everything that you had to do?
Well, the GMC has a lot of queries, I would say. Why? Because we are registering for the first time. It's a basic thing that they will ask us multiple questions. So we have to discuss it not only from my perspective, even from the university's perspective. Why? Because one single mistake can cause a lot of trouble for us. So the process was smooth, but we had to make it like a very good one for the end of the result. So it took a little bit of time, but eventually we were successful.
Fantastic. So in other words, you've paved the way for everyone else, which is fantastic. I think the other, I think one more question that just popped into the Q&A also is,
Sure.
The students that are thinking about going to the European University in Tbilisi, what advice do you have for them and the aspiring ones that want to become doctors like you?
Well, I have been in Tbilisi like almost 6 years, and I have studied in my university in the most of the time. At the same time, I have been to other universities. Well, I have my friends in other universities, so I have visited the other universities. I have been there for some project works or some seminars or something else. I have noticed that the faculty over the other universities are not that friendly compared to our university. The faculty is like just they want to teach you. But European faculty is not the way they are. That's not the way they teach. They want you to understand, not in a manner of the teacher-student relationship, but in a manner of a friendship relationship. So that's the key point. I would say you can choose European university over other universities.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
And we hope to see how your journey also pans out.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. So the other thing as well in the UK, for some students who aren't able to get an opportunity to study medicine from the undergraduate level, they are given the opportunity to apply for perhaps the graduate entry options. Now, these are options where these are compressed in the UK. So you do 2 years of preclinicals and then you do your practical years afterwards. Now, the graduate entry programs abroad, they're slightly different to the ones in the UK. And they work of what they call the recognition of a previously studied degree. So how this would work is the universities look at your degree and they transfer across the credits that you've done from the specific relevant modules. So if you've done, for example, human anatomy, biochemistry, those things are transferred across into the course and they allow you exemptions. So a graduate entry abroad could be up to 4 years for medicine or even dentistry. Now, in terms of how the program works is you're able to skip a couple of years. So meaning, as Tom said, when medicine is 6 years, it could be cut down to 4, where you could go into 1 year of a preclinical year where you get to understand the foundations, the basic medical sciences, which then prepares you into going to the fun part of medicine. This is where you get to do things like internal medicine, general surgery, pediatrics. You get to do all the rotations, get to see patients. And then for the dental side, again, you have 1 year of a preclinical year, and then you go into your practical years. And this is how the graduate entry program works abroad. Now, the best part about these programs are they are also recognized back in the UK. Now, people tend to ask, what degrees would qualify? You need to have a medical science degree. For example, if you have a clinical science degree, bachelor's, biomedical science is one that would qualify. You have to have something that has specific sciences in them to be able to transfer those across into the program. Now, we have a student actually that I would ask a question about who is studying graduate entry at the European University in Tbilisi. Who's doing graduate entry. Kadir, how have you found your experience being a graduate entry student at the European University in Tbilisi?
Hi guys, yeah. So being a graduate entry European University is quite a simple process that you guys talked me through, obviously helped me through that. I did a 3-year BSc at Exeter Neuroscience, and basically I had another offer, but it was for like 6 years. And to me, being my second degree, I'd have to self-fund it myself. So instead of spending that much and that long in the UK, I looked at other options, and I saw the European option, and I saw obviously it's registered by the GMC as a recent graduate has been, and the course looked really interesting. I saw pictures of the university as well, and it had great facilities. So that's why I decided to go that way, and it was quite simple. Obviously, they did the interview. The interview was really calm. They asked you upfront questions, nowhere near as hard as UK interviews, which I've done. I did one for Exeter. They just obviously talk you through quite easy, and then the application after that was just straight on. I think it took about a week for me, a week and a half. It was quite simple to get my place.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I know you'll talk a bit more about the whole process in a bit, but I wanted to kind of ask you this question about graduate entry and how you found your process so far. Now, other services that we also provide is transfer. So the ability to move from one medical school to another within Europe, and also the ability to move from one other dental university to another. So to tell you a bit more about this, I'd like to invite back Dana, who will tell you how the transfer processes work. Dana?
Yes, Edmund. So another service, as Edmund mentioned, offered by Medlink students is transfers. This is for students who would like to change universities halfway through the course. The majority of students here are obviously considering studying in September, October intake and joining the first year. However, some students approach us and tell us that they would like to change universities halfway through their program because they went to a university in an environment that is not suitable for them and they're not happy in. So in case you're one of these students, this is your opportunity now. Our expert doctors can help you find the right university to allow you continue your studies without any interruptions in the right university and the right option. So yes, transfers are possible and we do support and help students with transfers.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Dana. Now, the other thing as well, everybody asks, and this is great because you guys have been asking a lot of those questions. Keep them coming. You've asked many, many questions and the guys are answering them. Sometimes we do get asked, well, where are the best medical schools to go to? So every year we look at the schools and how the students find them, the supports that they get from the teachers. And these actually tend to become actually one of the best ones to go to. So we selected and handpicked, and we're very, very particular anyway with the universities that we choose to work with. We've handpicked a few of them. There are many others that we could talk about, but these are the top schools that we could really talk about with you guys. And a lot of the students that we've invited to come and talk about their experiences there as well. Now, to tell you a bit more about these schools, I'd like to invite Tom to expand a bit more about these schools and why we selected these ones. Tom?
Thank you, Edmund. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we work with over 50 universities across Europe now. And these are all courses that we've assessed that meet all the requirements, on an international scale. So you really are filled with opportunities in this day and age to go and study abroad. And there truly is something for everyone. If you have a passion to study medicine, there is a school in Europe that is right for you. And that is the case. Now, having a look at this list here, these are some of the top choices that we've seen over recent years. And the sort of two key words that I use when I'm looking at this is opportunity and also variety. So just to give some examples, there are so many differences in varieties here. So if you're talking financially, you could look at somewhere like the European University in Tbilisi. This one's around £4,000 per year. If you're looking at somewhere like Poland, for example, it goes up to £10,000 a year. And yet both these courses meet that same level of recognition. Both of them have a high quality of education. And again, you can look in terms of distance. I know we've got a few UK students listening in today. So somewhere like Poland might be quite appealing because it's quite close. It's not too far to fly back and forth if you want to go back and visit the family and things like that. Then again, a lot of them are. Maybe the environment, maybe you're used to somewhere that's a bit quieter and a bit more peaceful. There are universities listed here that are in much smaller cities. Some cities are much larger and have a lot more going on. So for students that are kind of used to living in capital cities and having that kind of interaction, then you can get that there. But as I said, there's always something right for you. And we're always happy to discuss these with you, let you know all the pros and cons of the different ones, because they all have their own, each and every one of them, and just trying to find the best one for you. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Tom. I know you speak to a lot of students as well. I'm sure you can share a bit of experience with this. we do get asked quite a lot by the UK students whether the courses there, for example, medicine, whether it's recognized by the General Medical Council.
Yes, absolutely. This is a question that I get asked lots of times every single day. So this program, as I said before, that you're doing is an MD. Now, all of these programs go way over the requirements for the GMC. Now, the requirements basically are 5,500 hours towards the study of medicine. Now, this has to be completed over a period of 3 years or more, and the university has to be recognized by the World Health Organization and listed on their medical schools directory. Now, this is a really simple thing to see. Most of these programs go way over those 5,500 hours because you're studying a lot more time than what you are in the UK anyway. And they are all listed by the World Health Organization. And as I said before, on top of that, we are always assessing these universities based on their quality of education, student support, and also how well they teach the program in English. Because for a lot of you students, you could go to a fantastic university, but if they can't speak very good English, you're not going to be able to learn. You're not going to get the support you need. And it's little things like that that you won't always see maybe on a website or on some marketing or branding online that we focus on. And we try to find these things. When we have a call with people, I'm sure there's some people on here that have had calls with us already. You know that we ask lots of questions. We try to find out everything we can so we can try and highlight some of the universities that will best suit you. Thanks, Edmund. Back to you.
Thank you so much for sharing that experience, Tom. All right, so let's have a look at some of these schools that we actually work with. And then the first one would be the European University that you saw the video earlier. This is a university we have in Tbilisi, Tbilisi being the capital. This is a fantastic school that we have worked with for quite a while now. And as you saw, Dr. Kamar sharing his experiences there. Now, we've invited some of the students who are studying at this university in different faculties to talk about their experience. So I'd like to invite Guguletu, who's doing dentistry. Guguletu, can you come in and tell us a bit more about your experience and how you found dentistry so far?
Hi, everyone. Hi. So my name is, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much, Edmund, for that introduction. My name is Guguletu, and as Edmund said, I'm at the European University in Tbilisi. So I'm in my first year, and I'm actually going into my second semester on Monday. And yeah, no, so far it's been really good. I just want to encourage people who might be considering or thinking about coming over to study in Tbilisi. I think it's a great city. I think apart from my education aspect of things, I think living here is great as well. I think the people are so friendly and there's just so much to do. And, you know, when we've got free time, you can always find something to do. And I would say it's a low cost of living as well. So it's much better. I think like for transport and things like that and food prices, it's a lot cheaper than in the UK. So I would highly recommend that. And yeah, so being at the European University, it's been really good. We're obviously taught in English, which was one of my concerns, to be honest. When I was coming, I was just thinking maybe the language barrier would be a problem. But no, it has been absolutely fine, and they're super supportive, the staff. It's easy to talk to them and ask questions, and you can get as involved or not as involved as you want to be honest. It's quite flexible in that way. We also learn Georgian because I was worried about the language and things. So we learn Georgian at school for the first 2 years anyway, with my course. So I'm kind of learning to navigate myself through the city with the little Georgian that I know. But it's an interesting language to learn. So that would be fun too. Yeah, I don't know what else to cover. So actually, I'll talk about my process in applying through Medlink. I was just I don't know how I came across the website, the Medlink website, and I put my number through as some of you might have already, and they were very, very helpful in the sense that I could express my concerns or talk about my budget, and I think Tom, who helped me at the time with my application and everything, was super helpful in helping me narrow down exactly which university would be best suited for myself. So that, yeah, I felt really supported through that experience. And then when coming here, I was quite anxious that, you know, how will I even find a taxi from the airport? So Medlink actually had a driver there for me. So it was pretty easy to get from the airport to my accommodation. And, you know, the same person was able to help me open a bank account. So I think Medlink really is supportive in the sense that if I had any questions or whatever at the time, I would just message one of the guys and get help pretty instantly. So yeah, no, I highly recommend.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you. A question that we also get to ask as well is how is, you know, first year of dentistry? Because, you know, students want to know, some students want to do hands-on experience, some students want to do, you know, if you've done any practical classes. How have you found the first semester so far? Because you kind of just started.
So the first semester was mostly online, apart from one day a week where we went in and we did the clinical aspects of things. So we've managed to practice our like intravenous injections, things like that with dummies and stuff at the university. So it's pretty hands-on already, I think, even though we had all these restrictions with COVID and everything. So coming into the next semester now, it's all going to be face-to-face learnings, face-to-face teaching. So I think if already I feel fairly satisfied, I think it can only get better from there.
Fantastic. With every school you go to, you'll have obstacles or challenges. What would you say has been one challenge or obstacle that you faced, and what did you do to overcome that?
I think honestly, the main challenge is it's just been mainly about my personal experience. I think just the culture shock and the not having, you know, people that you're familiar with around too much. But I think I'm very open-minded and friendly, and I think that I just told myself coming here that, you know, I'm not gonna not talk to people or whatever or be shy. I think that I just came out my shell, and I think being in an environment like this, it pushed me to just be more confident and to speak more and to be able to form closer relationships with people. So as much as it was an obstacle, I think it's also helped me grow.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Guguletu. And obviously we're excited to see how your journey goes.
Thank you.
As well. Thank you. Thank you, really. Thank you very much. There's been a lot of questions that's coming in. Guys, keep them coming. We're loving the questions. And I think the most common one that I think we should still ask is this for Dr. Kamar. Dr. Kamar, now that you're actually registered with the GMC and successfully done that, would you advise UK students to study at the European University Tbilisi?
Yes, I would advise them. Why? Because the first important thing is, as I myself has completed the registration process, and I can confidently say that it's a safe route to go. And if there are some problematic situations, university is there every time to help the student to sort it out. So I would say it's a safe route to take.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Another student studying at the European University, Nishant, would like to invite him to share his experience of how he's found studying there so far. Nishant?
Thank you, Edmund. Hello, everyone. My name is Nishant Kaushik, and I'm a fifth-year medicine student in European University. About my experience, I can say that it's awesome from the starting. Like in this 5 year, I never got any kind of problems in Georgia. If I talk about regarding safety, it's like one of the most countries in a safety. And if I talk about the quality of education, like our university, I am so much thankful the provider who provide me this university. It's like a one of the good university in Tbilisi. And about the quality of education, like I can say that in like they are giving us theoretical theoretical education as well as the practical education. They are sending us to the hospitals for our clinical rotations. Like there we are interacting with the like patients with who are suffering from different kind of diseases. And also I can say about the climatic and environmental condition in Tbilisi, like it is like according to my country, like I can say that it is like favorable for like students who are coming from different countries, not just from India, like from every country. And also I can say about the native people who like when we are interacting with, like they are so much they are behaving so much familiar with the foreign people who are coming to study in Tbilisi. They know all, like mostly people are coming here for study. So they are so much familiar, and they are like they are providing a good hospitality for the students. So according to me, like till now I have the best experience in Tbilisi.
Oh, fantastic. And how have you found, in terms of you doing your rotations, how have you found the support that you get from the doctors that kind of shadow you when you're doing your
I can say like doctors in my university, they are highly qualified, and they are totally supported their students. Like they are they want to give the knowledge to all the students who are studying in our university. They are providing each and single knowledge to the student, so they can be a good doctor in future. So they don't want that that there is any kind of lack of knowledge to the students. So they are like providing all the information regarding according to our syllabus. So.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Nishant, for sharing your, and we can also wait to see you, go out and graduate and become a doctor out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edmund. Thank you so much.
All right. So one other attractive option that we're going to discuss today is Romania. Romania is a dynamic country rich in history, arts, and scenic beauty. Romania has been offering medicine and dentistry for more than 10 years in English language. So Romania is one of the most well-established places to study in, and it's one of our most affordable places to study in Europe. Tuition fees in Romania range between 5,000 euros up to 9,500 euros a year, depending on the university you go to. The admission requirements in Romania are flexible too, where some universities require entrance exams, some don't. So it also depends on the university you apply to.
So with Titu Maiorescu, this is a big university. It's one of the most attractive ones for students from the UK, USA, and other countries as well. The reason they choose this university is because it's in the capital, and it has a medicine and dentistry in English courses. These are really good courses because they've been operating for several years with many international students studying there. Usually the Medlink students will support students like you who decide that, for example, a Romanian university is a good option for you by preparing you for the entrance exam, which is in biology and chemistry, usually a science exam. Sometimes they will test your English knowledge as well. And this is not really a tough or difficult experience. We will help and support you with this. Now, tuition fees, as you can see, they range. In this university specifically, they're different for EU and non-EU students. Usually UK students are considered non-EU. Living costs are very affordable, but as you would expect, usually in the capital, it'll be a little bit more expensive than in other cities like Craiova as well. So Nazim will tell us a little bit once he's back about his living expenses. I think you're back now, huh?
Yes, hello, I'm back now.
All right, so let's go back to Craiova then.
Yeah, so my living expenses, I'm going to speak in terms of euros since I come from Germany and I receive the money in euros. So sorry for that if you are from the UK or from any other country. But rent, I would say, averages from 250 to 350. It may include your utilities like gas, water, heating, and such. Food itself is, I think, very cheap. I mean, if you compare it to the UK, I'm sure it's extremely cheap. Comparing to Germany, it's very cheap. If you were to go out to your canteen and eat a full meal with a soup, a main dish, salad, and a drink, you will only pay €5. In general, life in Romania is far cheaper than in the rest of Europe, as far as I'm concerned. What can be said about the EU, that is. And general living expenses also are very affordable, as already mentioned, I would say. And besides that, my experience in Romania, I can tell, since I've also read the question regarding racism and such, that I've never experienced such a thing in Romania. I can already say that. People here are generally very open, they're very kind. A lot of people are speaking English or at least another foreign language, such as Italian or French. Same goes for the teaching staff and your professors, of course. They're very approachable people. They're very nice people in general. You can always ask them. It's a very direct contact. It's a very open environment. You can always ask questions. You can ask direct questions. Even ask medical questions if the chance arises or if the need arises. There is a lot of possibilities to do in Craiova. It's close to Bulgaria. It's close to Bucharest. It's close to Serbia in terms of tourism, in terms of the other non-university side of life. And as a university, yeah, Romania has had the reputation in Romania as being the third best in Romania after, I think, Carol Davila and Cluj, which are traditionally the biggest. But for Romania being such a young university, relatively speaking, it is still a very big achievement. And it's also felt given the professors you have and the care they take of you as a student, and the emphasis that is being put into you studying and learning and having understood anything and everything that they have taught you. So yeah, anything else? Any other questions?
Yes, Nazim, I'd like to ask you, why did you choose Craiova? How did you choose the university? I
actually spoke about it with Amira, who advised me to go to Craiova. The admission in Craiova was fairly easy. Even though I applied very late, it was a very smooth application. I applied at the beginning of June, and I still got a place. And Craiova, I chose it because it has a good location. It is easy to reach Bucharest with the train or the bus, from which I can reach Germany very quickly. It is cheap and cheaper than Bucharest in terms of living standards and living cost. And yeah, the university is very good and has a very good reputation. And given the smaller size of Craiova as a city and as a university, it's a far more intimate experience that you can share with your fellow students and your professors.
All right. I wanted to ask you, how did you find the university? But you just answered that. I still would like to ask, how are the classes and the teachers? Can you tell us more about that?
The classes, well, the entire year is usually split in 3 to 4 groups, depending on the size. In general medicine, I think it is four groups for 50 or 45 students. We are 19 in dentistry, and we split in 3 groups, 6 and 1 with 7, I think. And we attend the labs or classes according to our curriculum that is then divided into our labs and lectures. Labs are mandatory to attend, lectures are non-mandatory. In some, the professors also changes from lab to lecture, and in general, we get informed via an email or a group leader. And yeah, for the professors, everyone speaks English, usually, at least. Most speak French as well, or at least a bit. And they're generally young teachers, so most of them are very fluent in English. There is no big issue in terms of communication. They can explain everything to you very well and in great detail if the need arises. So yeah, that's what I can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nazim.
You're welcome.
Experience. So now let's move on to another country. This is very, very popular for most of our students. This is Bulgaria. Now, the Bulgarian schools, they do medicine and dentistry, and some of them do veterinary, pharmacy, and they go on from 5 years. These are 6-year courses for medicine and dentistry, and then the pharmaceutical sciences can be up to 5 years as well. Now, the tuition fees, as you see, they range from 7,000 to 8,000 euros. And one of the universities that we're going to talk about is Trakia Medical University. This is a fantastic school in Stara Zagora, the city. Now, we have one of the students who's studying medicine who's here to talk about his experience. So do we have Abaz? Abaz, are you here?
Yes.
How are you? You okay?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Would you like to share with us your experience and how you found Trakia University so far?
So, hi everyone. My name is Abbas Zaidi, and I'm a second-year medical student at Trakia University in Stara Zagora, which is in Bulgaria. I use Medlinks to apply here, and they've obviously made my journey easier. They helped me through the whole process, like looking at different universities and making the application. But yeah, and once I've arrived at the university, they helped me navigate the university and the city and help with accommodation. The university itself is smaller than other universities, which I quite like because everyone knows each other and the senior students are always there for you. So whenever you need questions or help or advice, they're always there and behind you to support. And also even the lecturers and the professors are really friendly. They can speak really good English. And they can also help sometimes with if you need to get like a Bulgarian ID or have some problems with the rent, they can speak very good Bulgarian with anyone you need to speak to. First year of medicine in Trakia University is obviously hard because there's a lot of subjects, but eventually, second year, it gets a bit easier. And by third year, it starts clinical and where you work in the hospital, which is quite good. Because you have more, and then you learn a lot of experience in how to deal with patients, which I think is really good. Stara Zagora itself is a small city. So I feel like this is easier to get around. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on taxis and buses, etc. And living expenses are quite reasonable compared to other big cities, for example, Sofia or Plovdiv, and you can rent a flat from around 300 leva to 500 leva, depending on where it's located. And and there's a lot of sports organizations happening in Stara Zagora, so you can never be bored. So badminton, basketball, football, cricket, and a lot of activities as well. But yeah, thank you.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you. And would you say that you've met quite a lot of British students who are there now?
Yes, I would say yes, definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Abbas, for sharing your experience with us.
No problem.
Another student that we have also in Trakia is Ivan. Ivan, are you there?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
How are you? Okay?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How has your experience been so far?
My experience has been amazing. Especially as a person who came from Middle East in United Arab Emirates. So I have had difficulties in applying out to Europe, which is why I took Medlink. And especially as an 18-year-old, Medlink helped me a lot in deciding which university to go to and helping me with everything that I needed in terms of documents and everything. And I'm currently a 5th-year student in dentistry. And when I arrived to Bulgaria, they made it really easy for me to adapt to the country by having someone there to show me the areas and helping me around the city and everything. I ended up picking Bulgaria because it is actually accredited in my country, which is really good, especially coming from Middle East, as I said. And it's also a really beautiful place in terms of like nature and everything. So you can go hiking, you can go skiing, you can do a lot of activities here. And in terms of education, there's like a lot of practical work, I would say. I would highly recommend it because of the practical work. Like in the first year as a dentist, you would learn the anatomy of the tooth by carving soap, by drawing it, by making models from wax and everything. And even as a medicine student, you learn a lot from anatomy, like in cadavers and everything. Like I learned about the head and neck, which I used in my practice right now. And as a fifth-year student, like I would practice a lot with patients. There's a lot of patients, and I would know, like you would get a lot of experience in terms of by working with patients, of course. But yes, in terms of living, apartments usually cost around 200 to 300 euros a month. Mine costs 200, I guess, and as if you have a roommate, even costs less, like 150 euros. And the electricity and the water bills are actually really cheap as well. The food here is really cheap and it's good. You can go around other cities as well, experience with other students. Like I've met a lot of people in Plovdiv University, a lot of people in Sofia University. You can easily access transportation here and go to other cities and meet other people. And yeah, these days I've been spending it studying in coffee shops with friends. And like there's a lot of, you can see a lot of international students there, like studying, and you meet a lot of people, which is really nice. And the weather is beautiful right now. Like it's amazing. But yeah.
Ivan, I have to apologize to you. I actually didn't realize you're studying in Varna.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
How's the lifestyle generally for you in Varna? And when you started as a first year student, obviously being in the fifth year now, you've experienced Bulgaria quite a bit. What was the experience like for you when you first started? And what was the expectation?
When I first started, so when I first started over here, like the older people, they don't speak that much English. So I had difficulties in speaking with for example, employees that work in shops and stuff. But the universities help you a lot by teaching you Bulgarian language, which is really good. And even if you learn a bit, you can still communicate with the people here, which is really nice. And they're really friendly when you try communicating with them. They really appreciate it when you learn their languages and their traditions and everything. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Was this one of the kind of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, it's one of the challenges. And also because, as I said, like I come from, I don't come from Europe or anywhere near Europe. So it was a really big challenge, and you guys helped me a lot. Thank you.
You're very welcome. What would you say? What advice would you give? I suppose there are lots of students that we have from the UK, from all over the world that are watching tonight. What advice would you give them?
Oh, so many. I would highly recommend studying abroad, because you gain a lot of experience from studying, and not just studying, also life experiences. Like you would go back home, and your parents can see you as a changed person. You know, you grow as a person, make you more independent studying abroad. So I would highly recommend it. And you especially make like lifelong friends here outside of Europe, because there's a lot of international people, and it's really amazing for that. And I would love, like, I made friends that I would love to open clinics with them, you know, and work with when I graduate, hopefully.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ivan, for sharing your experience with us.
No problem. Thank you so much.
So another university that we also deal with very well is Plovdiv Medical University. This is a school in Plovdiv, in the city. This is one of the largest cities as well in Bulgaria. It's a fantastic school. They do medicine and dentistry. The courses there are both 6 years, and the tuition fees are around 8,000 euros. Now, we help you with this application process. The admission processes are quite flexible in itself. You need to have biology and chemistry in your A levels. And this is something we can look at as well when we speak with you. You can start the application this year for this intake in October. They also have a simple entrance test, which is biology and chemistry. Now, this is something that we help you with. We give you the materials that you need to prepare, because again, we want you to ace the test. And again, also, we want you to get a place to the university. And then we'll support you throughout the whole process of the application to actually getting there. Living cost in Plovdiv, you know, anything up to 500 euros. You can actually relatively live there quite well. And the course itself is very good. We get hands-on experience from the beginning of the course throughout. And the best part about this for the UK students, the degree is recognized by the General Medical Council. And also we've had graduates that have actually returned back from medicine to dentistry. We even had one of our graduates for dentistry talk about his experience a few months ago. So again, if you're thinking about going to Bulgaria, Plovdiv is another place that we could look at as well. Now, let's look at the next option. And this is the option that we have in Poland. Now, I believe we have one of the students here, if he's still here. Now, I'd like to invite Tom, who's one of the expert advisors, who will tell you a bit more about the Polish universities.
Thank you, Edmund. Yes, we do have a student from Poland. I think they've just put up that they're having some issues at the moment. So you'll have to put up with me for the time being, and we'll see if they get back in touch with us while I'm discussing it. So Poland is a fantastic option. They're very well established in the medical community on an international scale. One thing that makes them quite an attractive option is their location geographically. You know, they're right in the middle of Europe. So for a lot of European students, it's a neighboring country. Even for UK students, it's very close, you know, to get flights to and go back and see, as I said before. Now, in terms of the tuition, as you can see, it's a bit higher than, you know, the places we've discussed there, Georgia, Bulgaria, Romania. And again, that's due to the level of economy in Poland is just slightly higher as well. So again, your cost of living are going to be slightly more too. And I think we've got some universities to show here, have we? Fantastic. So this is always a very appealing university. I'm sure you can all understand why. It's a lovely campus. So this is the Medical University of Bialystok. Now, Bialystok has been established for over 70 years. They've been teaching medicine. So they've had a lot of practice. They've got really good experience. They've also won awards locally for things like their student support and also their facilities. So it's a great school. Again, the course is fully taught in English, and the process is fairly straightforward to enter. So you're talking an entrance test with an interview form. And again, we'll give you all the tips and tricks, provide you with materials to help you with that. Now, Bialystok is a little bit smaller in terms of the city than some of the other places, you know, like the capital cities in these countries. So it's a little bit more peaceful. And it's a very nice environment, especially if you're wanting to go and get stuck in and get into your medicine. Very popular with a lot of Western European students, UK students. So lots of native English speakers that go and study there as well. Silesia. Silesia is the largest medical university in Poland. Again, very well established. They've been going on for many, many years. Now, one thing that's nice about them is they're right in the south of Poland in a city called Katowice. So this is quite close to a lot of bordering countries like Czech, for example. Again, like Bialystok, they offer medicine, but they also offer dentistry and pharmacy programs, all 100% taught in English. The city here is a little bit larger, so it's a bit more of a lively city. There's a little bit more going on. For those of you coming from, you know, places like London, Berlin, or, you know, big cities elsewhere in the world, this might be a little bit more suitable for you. It's a really lively place and a very good school, again, with international recognition. We have quite a lot of students from America as well. So for those of you coming, listening from the States at the moment, this is quite a popular option for American students. And they've done a lot of things for American students in the past, like integrating the program, offering help with the USMLEs and things like that.
Thank you so much, Tom. And I think we have Emeka, who's one of the graduate students in Silesia. Emeka, would you like to share your experience so far being in the Medical University of Silesia?
Well, it's can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so it's a really good program. One thing I found is that they really do tailor the course on you. You have an option of European or international entry, and depending on what you've done before and the program you're used to, it really does tailor towards you. And once you start, they do offer you a lot of support, and the student network is great, and there's a lot of diversity. I'm currently doing medicine. It's a 6-year program, but I got into the 3rd year, and so I'm now 4th year, and I'm about to start my rotations. And as the previous speaker said, they do cater a lot to American students and Israeli students, because you can also do your rotations in other countries, which I think is really good as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that insight. I wanted to ask you a question regarding sort of your concerns before you went. What would you say was your main worry? And then what did you realize when you started studying at Silesia?
Well, if you can tell from my name, I'm African. So obviously you hear about certain things, but 100% it's completely diverse. And that was my biggest concern, was, you know, being Black and going to a European country, Poland. But I have to say, it's so nice, it's so welcoming. You'll meet students from all over the world, not just Americans, but like everywhere. You'll meet Israelis, you'll meet Africans, you'll meet Asians, and you'll meet a lot of British students as well, because it's a very good option to go there.
Fantastic, thank you. And how have you found the course in general? Is there anything that you've struggled with?
That's the thing. It's you have upper years that are like guiding you a lot. So once you go there, whether you know anybody or not, you automatically just have like a massive network of students that they give you all their advice. They give you how to tackle the course, the best resources to use. You get that from the lecturers as well, of course, but obviously students that have been through it, they know other ways that you can, get there, maybe easier ways that are more friendly towards your timetable. So, you're supported from the moment you're there. And, that's something that I found once I was there. So many people were just willing to help.
Fantastic. And that's one of the key things that I said as well, that we look out for is student support. There are lots of priorities that we look at, but one of the top ones that always resonates with us, and we're always on the hunt for with every medical school, is student support. And regarding the actual admissions process, how did you find that throughout the application process?
Well, I applied through Medlink, and I had support pretty much. I don't know whether Edmund actually sleeps, because I would message him at crazy o'clock and he's answering my messages. So, it was really straightforward. I always knew what was happening next and what I needed to get and what I needed to bring. And so eventually, when I did get to the final stages, that's when I had to do the entrance exam. And they just want to kind of see if you have a science background, which if you do a degree in any science related course, medicine related course, you should know. So they just want to hear that, and they want to see that, and then they want to interview you. And it was actually really relaxed. The teacher that interviewed me is actually our biochemistry professor. So I met him like the moment I got into school, and he said he remembered me. So it's actually really nice. They're really relaxed, and he was so friendly. So you won't need to worry about that. It's so straightforward. And as long as you have some kind of background in medicine, a medical related course, it's really straightforward.
Wow, so he remembered you from the interview?
I'm hard to forget.
I can tell you must have made a really good impression on them. That's a great story to hear. And we've got a lot of students, so just one more question for you. We have a lot of students that are asking us what the kind of advice is with taking a gap year. What would you say about that?
Taking a gap year from education is always difficult. One, you're always tempted when you do take a gap year to take another gap year. And also when you do take a gap year, it kind of takes you out of that flow of studying. And when it comes to medicine is, we can't lie to you, it's intense. You're studying for many hours, sometimes daily. And, to get into that flow, even when I started and I had just come out of my degree, it took me a while to get into that studying flow, and I was just coming out of a degree. So I would say that in terms of a gap year, I would say it's best to just, go for it straight. Go for it straight, while your brain's still hot and like ready to work, and just, buckle down. If you want to take a gap year after you graduate, then, that's great. But I would say while you're young, while it's still fresh in your head, just go for it. Every little helps, trust me.
That is such a good and thorough insight from you there. So thank you for that. And thank you for sharing your experiences with us as well.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, guys. And we'd still like to thank all our students for spending their evenings with us. And we know as Emeka said, medicine is intense. So a lot of you are spending your evenings with us, and we really appreciate that. Now, the next country that we'd like to talk about is Serbia. We have a very fantastic medical school that we'd like to talk about. And to tell you a bit more about that, I'd like to invite Osman to tell you a bit about Serbia and the schools that we work with there. Osman?
Yes, thank you, Edmund. Wow, we've had some amazing stories and some really great speakers today. Thank you all to all our students who have joined and talked about their experience. It's great to see so much diversity, people from all over the planet who have that common goal of wanting to study medicine or dentistry, being passionate about healthcare, to the point that people from the UK, Germany, the Middle East, America, Canada, everyone coming together to study in these faculties. And that's the best thing about it. You will get to network with all students, like the students who have joined us now, people from various backgrounds, from different nationalities, different ethnicities. You'll get to meet everyone from all walks of life in one faculty. And how amazing is it to network so easily with people from across the world? Okay, I won't continue for too long. We have Serbia, which is an exciting new option that we've been setting up for students, especially students from the West and students from all over the planet as well, because it's so affordable. In Serbia, you can find medical schools and dental schools where you can study both courses in English. The tuition fee is very realistic as well. It's really affordable. It's about 5,500 euros. And the entrance exam will prepare you for that, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So a really great option that we've started now, we're really excited to announce, is that the University of Niš, who we've started recently working with, because we saw this university has amazing potential. It's one of the best universities in Serbia. It has really a great set of doctors who teach at the faculty, really diverse number of students as well. It's a small faculty. Usually per year, there are about 50 international students, 50 to 60. And all these students are like a second family for each other because they all know each other so well. Everyone sees everyone else. And the teachers, the best thing is that the teachers know every single student because the faculty is a very moderate size. So without further ado, I will introduce students to tell you more about the university. So first off, let's get Annika in from Germany, who's been studying for 2 years now in Niš. Annika, how are you?
Hi, thank you for introducing me. I think I should talk a little about Niš. I choose Niš because it's really, as you said, a small university. In 2020, when I started, they took just 25 people, which is a very low number, and it was very attractive for me because, as you know, in Germany, you sit most cases with 300-400 people in one class, and getting also into the German university is also not so easy, even if you have the best grades. I think we have like 10,000 positions, but we have like 60,000 applicants, so you can imagine it's like kind of impossible. I choose Niš because of because it's so familiar. We are really small in number, as you said. The professors knows us very well. The tuition fee is really low, I would say, for an international degree. But if I compare it to a German medical degree, it's like 1-to-1. The difference is that in Serbia, we pay a tuition fee, but the living cost is very low. It's like between 400 to 600 euros, depending on your lifestyle. But in Germany, you don't pay tuition fee, but your lifestyle is really expensive. And therefore, you can really afford much, much more in Serbia. Like you can have a very good lifestyle as a student, which you can forget almost in Germany. Niš is the third largest city in Niš, so it's not so huge. So it is the perfect city, in my opinion, when you want to really properly focus over your studies. But still, it has also enough clubs and cinemas and restaurants to enjoy in your free time, as well as sports clubs. And yeah, I had to write an entrance exam in biology and chemistry, which you have to pass in order to get a place. And you will get the result actually immediately. And yeah, I think that's for now everything from my side.
Brilliant, Annika. One thing is that lots of students nowadays, especially with the current situation in Europe, they worry about safety. Would you be able to explain a little bit more about how safe you found it?
I found it very safe. I mean, I never faced any trouble. Yes, the elder people, they don't speak English, but all the younger people, I feel like even more younger people are living in Niš than elders. And I never felt, even if I walked in the night, that I had some difficulties. You can always pick up a taxi, which are really cheap. And you can go from A to B, so you don't need to worry. Maybe I can ask, maybe I can also tell something about the airport. The airport is also located in Niš, which is very nice for international students, because you just need to the city Niš just like 10 minutes. And from Europe, you just need like 2 hours to reach Niš. Flight tickets are also very much affordable. And yeah, Serbian doctors are second in number, or second largest number who come to Germany as to work as doctors finally.
Yeah, thank you so much, Annika. That's a great review as well. Let's take it over now to another student who studies in Serbia in University of Niš as well, who's Ibrahim. Ibrahim, you with us?
Yes, I am here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Mohammed Ibrahim, and I'm a first-year student in Niš Faculty of Medicine. And I came from Ireland to study medicine here in Niš. So far, my experience has been really good. Like, from coming from Ireland to Niš, it's like this city was small enough, and people here are like very friendly. And my basically challenge was from coming, like top concern, like coming to Niš. So it was the language barrier that I was thinking, you know, that I speak English and coming here. How would people like, you know, how would I speak to other people? So when I came here, I checked like most of the people here spoke English, like the youngsters, like, so that wasn't hard for me. So far in the faculty, like all the professors are like very friendly and they help you with everything. They let you understand every single bit that you're learning. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, brilliant, Ibrahim. How have you found it then with the teachers and their attitude usually towards the students?
Well, their attitude is good, and they spoke fluent English, so it's not bad for us. Like, we understand everything, what they say, what they teach, and everything. So I find it easier here. But instead of like going to other countries that are crowded and all, so I like it here. I've been to Bulgaria. I wanted to go to Bulgaria, but then when I did a research about going to medicine university, so I found this niche. So I looked around, looked places, and it's a small city, like, so easier to go from one place to other, and yeah, living cost and everything is cheap enough. And yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, Ibrahim. And how have you found it making friends and meeting international people?
Well, for me, when I came here, it was actually, I was a bit nervous, you know. I thought I wouldn't make any any friends, but when I came here, I met a lot of international students, some from Canada, some from Anika from Germany, and then there was a few from Italy and India. There's many students, so they were very friendly. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. Very good. And thank you, Anika, as well. Anika, would you advise future students from Germany or the UK or Ireland or Canada, USA to come and check out Niche? Do you think it's a good choice for them?
Yes, it's really a good choice because of also the teaching quality. And as I said, doctors from Serbia are second largest in number as doctors in the German hospitals. So teaching quality, I'm really happy with my choice so far. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, that's great insight. If you guys have any questions, type them out in the Q&A so our students can answer them for you. So back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the students from Niche. Very excited to be working with you guys, and we can't wait to see how your journey goes. And we'd still like to continue to thank all our students who have really trusted us today and really started their journey with us. Now, every single day, I get asked about the admission requirements. What is the admission requirements? Will I be qualified to get in? We get this quite a lot. And to tell you a bit about this, I'd like to invite our head of admissions, because she'll be able to tell us a bit more about the flexible admission requirements and how we can get you the acceptance into a medical or dental school, because this is something that's on everyone's minds. Victoria, are you there?
Hello, everyone. So as Edmund said, it's true that a lot of students are worried about the entry requirements at these universities, but you don't have to worry about them, because this is what we are here for, to help you and guide you throughout every step of the process. So a lot of the universities, most of them would require you to have a high school diploma or the equivalent in your country's high school system. Of course, they would want to see that you have the English proficiency level in order to be sure that you get the most out of your education. And some of them would also want to see that you have basic science knowledge, which would be chemistry, biology, physics, sometimes maths. There are some universities that would want you to sit a simple entrance test. This is sometimes multiple choice question, open questions, or combined. However, there are universities that have no entrance tests, so you can ask our advisors and they will let you know which ones to go for, which ones suit you best. Now, for graduate students, the admission requirements would be to have a university transcript, of course, and just an English proficiency. Both I and the rest of the admissions team will do all the paperwork for you and ease your university admission. We will translate all your documents, help you with legalizing, get you guaranteed acceptance letter, provide you with all the revision materials that you would need to ace the test, and if there are any interviews as well. So our goal is to always help you. That's why we will assist you with visa application process if needed, and paying of tuition fees to the university. So you can ask us for any guidance that you will need. We're here to help you throughout every step of the process and make sure that you'll get an admission to a medical university abroad. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we hope this encourages and reassures a lot of you guys when thinking about applying abroad. Now, one student who also went through us, obviously Kadi, studying at the European University. Kadi, how did you find the process in terms of when we first spoke to you going to the admissions team and them guiding you? Are you there, Kadi?
Sorry guys, yeah, so the process was actually quite easy. That's quite straightforward. You guys guided me quite a lot, especially when speaking to you when we talked about a lot of options, and we talked through each option quite extensively, looking at budget, living costs, what the university actually supplies, and we chose the right option. And when I went through that process, you told me step by step, like, okay, I'll be in third year, the 5th semester, and from there, then it'll be the interview stage. They'll ask you these questions, and then like what documents I needed, and you guys handle the translation, everything. So yeah, it was quite straightforward, quite easy, way easier compared to like the UK admissions. and the hoops to make us jump back here at home.
Fantastic. And when you got there, what type of support did you receive getting to Tbilisi?
Obviously, I got support with getting into the dorm here, and then when getting to university, what dates, and contacting between us and the university study managers, like our base details. Quite a bit of support in that area. And then obviously when we got here as well, there's some person show us around, pick us up from the airport and things like that.
Fantastic. One last question for you, Kadir, is safety. Obviously, with everything happening in the world at the moment, a lot of students are, nervous about taking the step and going abroad in itself. How would you say the safety is in Tbilisi?
I think Tbilisi is quite safe. We were able to go out, enjoy ourselves. We never had to worry about safety or security. Like, there's even a joke in Tbilisi that people leave their cars open when they go into shops and that, is that safe? And so far, I've seen no problems. Just had a great time so far.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kadir, for sharing that with us.
Cheers, no problem.
So our team, we're always here and constantly looking for new opportunity for prospective medical and dental for you guys abroad. And we're always here to guide you and help you achieve all the dreams that you have. Now, going on our website, you'll see over 100 best medical and dental schools abroad where you can study. Now, we're always making sure that the schools, whether it's medicine, is listed in the World Directory of Medical Schools. And most importantly, you'll be able to use the degrees all over the world, from the UK to Canada to Australia, wherever you want to work. Now, we always have to make sure, obviously, our students that come back to the UK, that you'll be able to use the medical degrees. And then also look for universities that don't have any issues coming back. And there are some universities that end up on the medical council's list in the UK. And so to tell you a bit more about how this works, I'd like to invite back Osman, who will share with you how to kind of avoid these things. And we do all the research for you. Osman?
Yes, thank you, Edmund. Are Medlink Students, as a group of doctors and dentists, like I said at the start of the webinar, we're focused on making sure that we give you transparent, honest, and accurate advice. And we will always be committed to doing that. Whether it's positive, whether it's negative. We're not afraid of hiding also the negatives of studying abroad. You must be aware of those, and we are responsible to tell you of the pros and the cons as well. We're not just going to tell you what's good and then leave the bad out. So on this slide here, I would like to explain a little bit about the GMC, which is relevant for mostly people who want to work in the UK. Now, the General Medical Council assesses medical qualifications for those wanting to work in the UK. So anyone who's interested in working in the UK, it's really important that you listen up here very well and understand this very well. We always make sure to advise students on choosing safer options when choosing options abroad and universities abroad. So hence, it's important that you're well informed. So now we've noticed that there are universities or companies, agencies, promoting universities that are listed on the May Accept list. This May Accept list is a list by the General Medical Council. This list is there to warn students of universities that do not meet the criteria of acceptance set by the GMC. Now, the GMC has a criteria of acceptance. When going abroad, it's really important that you go to a university that meets their criteria. So when you come back to the UK to practice, the GMC will accept your university. So for example, earlier we spoke about the European University having a graduate, that was Dr. Kamar, who registered successfully with the GMC because the university met the criteria of acceptance set by the GMC. Now, even if a university, so knowing that and bearing that in mind, it's important that you also consider the universities that are listed on the may be accepted list. And as you can see here, we've explained why the GMC lists these universities. As it explains, the medical school offers courses that lead to qualifications that do not meet their criteria. So it's very important that you understand this. So we noticed that some universities or some agencies promote universities that are listed on the maybe accept list. Now you should be aware of these and be very careful when you hear about these universities. It doesn't mean that, for example, also I noticed that these kind of universities try to distract away from that fact that they are listed on the may accept list by creating campuses in the UK or by doing good glamorous marketing. But you should be aware of these facts because the GMC has a list of criteria and a university has to meet that criteria. So especially, for example, one university we've listed here, which is one example of a university from Georgia, and it's the only university from Georgia that's listed on the may accept list. It's called New Vision University. A lot of students ask us about this because it's promoted by other agencies. However, it's really essential that you understand that this university is listed on the may accept list because, and as the GMC states on their website, the medical school offers courses that lead to qualifications that do not meet the criteria. So we'll post shortly a link as well. I'll post it in the chat so you guys can see for yourself where it's listed. And to make sure that you are fully aware of this fact. Now, also, we noticed that some agencies as well say that universities abroad are accredited. Now, any agency making such claims, accredited, I mean by the GMC, any agency that says a foreign or overseas university is accredited by the GMC, you should never take these people seriously, ever, because they're clearly spreading information that's wrong, absolutely wrong, or they're either doing that in a wrong, intentionally wrong, or they are just too ignorant on the GMC and how the GMC works, because the GMC is a UK regulatory body. They regulate universities in the UK. They do not regulate or accredit universities that are overseas. So any agency saying, yes, this Georgian university is accredited by the GMC, this is absolutely wrong and ignorant. And you should be aware of such people who speak like this, because if they don't know what they're talking about, or they're doing it intentionally, then that means that should you really trust such people who don't know what they're talking about? Or should you go to doctors and dentists, people like us, the Medlink students, who actually have been through the process, who've studied medicine, studied dentistry, who will give you accurate and factual information? That's one very important fact to consider. All right, back to you, Edmund.
A very, very good, important thing that you just said as well, Osman, is a lot of students that we talk to, they get very confused by all of this. And this is why we exist. We exist to make sure that you have the information and the facts that you need to make the right informed decision for you, because it's important that you're aware of all of these. A lot of students come to us, they speak to other organizations, and then they come to us very, very confused, which isn't what we're here for. We're here to help you make the right decision, because some of you have applied to the UK and been rejected so many times, in your home countries as well. So we want to make sure that you always have the right information that you need to make the decision, so that you can come back and be very, very confident, knowing that the university you've attended is enlisted on the may accept list or even the do not accept list. This is something we'll put the link in there. Now that we've gone through all of this, you've understood some of the benefits of studying abroad, transferring, you've seen some of the experiences of students. Another question we get asked is, well, what is the process? How do we go from, speaking with us to getting on the actual course itself? And to tell you about how we can actually help you, I'd like to bring back Tom, who speaks to his hundreds of students about the process. Tom, are you there?
Yeah, thank you, Edmund. Yes, a lot to take in there for all of you. And obviously, medical school is difficult enough. You don't want to have to worry about, is my course going to be recognized? Is this place going to be safe? Is it going to give me the education that I need? How am I going to get a visa to live and study in this country? It can be quite overwhelming, and this is why Medlink Students was set up. And here you can see the steps and the stages of how we achieve our services and what we do for all of you. So it starts off with a free consultation. So this is where we have an opportunity one-on-one to listen to what you're looking for, to take in your financial budget, to look at what grades you've got, what great achievements you've done at high school, what kind of courses you've done already, whether you've been to university, whether you've been in a different career. We'll take everything into account, you know, where you live, what kind of place you're looking for, everything that we can, so we can give you the best possible advice. Now, on top of that, we're there to answer all of your questions, because I can tell just by the Q&A down here that we have hundreds and hundreds of questions coming through this evening. And we understand it is so information heavy when you're making such a big decision that's going to affect your future. And we are here to help you. Jump on a call with us. We'll stay on the phone for 2 hours if we have to. We want to help you. It's like one of the students said before, they don't think Edmund sleeps. We don't think he does either, because he's always on the phone with students, you know, that are saying, you know, is it recognized? Is it going to be safe over there? And that's what he loves to do, is just to reassure students to find the best suited options for them. Because that's the other thing, it's a very individual process. One school that's perfect for one person could be awful for someone else. They really do all have their pros and cons. And we just want to help you to find the best choice for you. And that's the first step. After that, Victoria explained perfectly before in regards to the application management. So we sort all of your documents. Now we have separate admissions teams specifically for different countries, and they have years of experience working with hundreds of students just specifically in these different schools and countries. So they're going to be able to help you. They're going to give you step-by-step instructions on everything that needs doing, from visa applications to giving you materials for the entrance tests or for the interviews. Everything that you need is going to be sorted. Everything's going to be done ahead of time. Everything's going to be submitted to the highest standard that the university requires it to. So you've got really nothing to worry about. Again, as I said before, we want you to focus on medical school. You know, we can't teach you medicine. That's what the school is for. And it's hard work, and we don't want you to be worried about everything else. Same goes for when you're settling in. I have so many students tell me how worried they are. I get so many messages and calls in the weeks coming up to intakes when they say, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm worried about going to this country. And it's so normal, so normal. Parents too. And that's why we offer the on-the-ground support services. So we've got people that will pick you up from the airport and arrange all the airport pickup for you. We will help you to sort out accommodation. So you don't have to worry about language barriers or anything like that. Same goes for setting up a bank account, advice on medical insurance, anything you can think of that you will need. We'll be helping you there to make sure you've got a great first start, you know, and to make sure your first steps are positive, encouraging, and you can really get into the course. But we don't just leave you there after you've got settled in. We're still there. You know, we have students that still even contact us as advisors years later, asking us for support and questions. But you also have access to the specific teams for those countries. They'll give you ongoing support throughout your degree. And then once you graduate, we will support you as much as we can as well to help you to register and become a doctor. Now, it really is a case of your success is our success. Coming from a company that's run by a team of doctors that have been through the same stress and troubles and fantastic achievements that you're about to go through, they understand how much the help and the support is needed. And we just want to see that for so many people. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Tom. And yes, a lot of the students do say, I don't sleep. We do, we do, only when we can. And that's because, you know, from January to December, this is all we do. We care so much about you actually going abroad to pursue your dream. And so we're always here to answer your questions, you know, whatever that might be. You know, I've had students that taking an entrance test, they called me every single day until the day of the test because they were worried that they wouldn't get in. And sometimes it's just about reassurance and letting them know that, yes, it's okay. You will be able to do the test. And, you know, any questions at all, we speak to parents and, you know, it's a big step like Tom says, and we have to make sure that each step of the way you are guided through, so you get that support throughout. Now, another thing that we get asked is about the tuition fees and the living costs. and how this differs. So a lot of students really are attracted to European universities due to the quality of education as well as the affordability. And the tuition fees in Europe are significantly lower than the UK. Sometimes it might be a little bit higher, but significantly lower than the US and Australia and Canada. So you could study, at a school that charges 3,000 euros, or it will cost you 5,000. And then the tuition fees actually doesn't make any difference to the quality, because we get asked as well, if the tuition fee is higher, does that mean the quality isn't? Is higher than the one that's lower? And the answer is no. The reason why the tuition fees will be lower in some countries is really due to the fact that that country is more accustomed to tuition fees like that and the standards of living. So you might find places like Bulgaria and Romania have very low tuition fees, but you're never compromising yourself on the quality of education at all. And the ones that have higher tuition fees, it just means that the standard of quality of living is higher. And so essentially you have the opportunity to pick a school that is more suitable for you as a student. And the most important thing as well is knowing that we are going to guide you to picking the right school for you. Because like Tom said, one school that might be perfect for one student might not be for another. That's why we have a tailored approach for everything that we do. And we spend time with you to make sure that you find the right option. Now, something also that we get asked as well is whether the degrees can be used coming back to my home country. So we are very particular with the schools that we choose to work with. Very, very particular. And that's because we want you to come back and utilize your degree to work as a doctor or a dentist. And all of these degrees are recognized worldwide because we have to do our research to make sure that you don't have to. Our team of doctors and dentists here who have been through the process understand the importance of that. So we know that coming back, you'll be able to use the degree, and we also guide you. And most students who are worried about returning home and working, we're able to help them throughout the whole process because a lot of our team here have been through it. And some who are studying and practicing in other countries have been through the process. So they understand exactly what it's like to come back and then working and registering and working as a junior doctor. Now, all you have to do really when you come back with the medical council is register your interest to get your license. Now, if you study within the European Union, currently you don't have to do a test. But if you study outside the European Union, you have to do a test called PLAB. Now, the General Medical Council are actually making some changes to this, which is they are introducing a new licensing test called the MLA, which stands for Medical Licensing Assessment. Now, this is a test for everyone, whether you studied medicine in the UK or whether you studied medicine abroad, it doesn't matter. What matters is coming back and having the skills and the knowledge to practice and demonstrate that. And this was something that was being introduced since 2012, which has been pushed back now. It's going to be introduced around 2024 to 25. The purpose of this licensing test is to introduce or create a common threshold for safe practice. And what the Medical Council wants is that everyone has to be on the same platform when treating patients safely. Now, what they are saying as well is that your degree will prepare you coming back. So anyone that studies in a country like Bulgaria, or even in Serbia, or even in Georgia, will be able to come back and demonstrate those skills to be able to work here. Now, we go on to kind of the next part, which is to answer some questions, because we've been getting a lot of questions that are coming in. And our team have been answering a lot of them. So I'd like to invite some of the advisors to come in. And if you guys have any questions, just bring them in. We're going to go and pick some of them and answer them live. Osman, do you have any question that has been asked quite a bit that you'd like to share?
Yes, I see there are hundreds of questions here. Wow, you guys are really curious about studying abroad, and I commend you for this, to find out as much information as you can. Great job. If we haven't got a chance to ask your question yet, please contact us through our website, medlinkstudents.com, and inquire at the top where it says inquire now, and we will get in touch with you as soon as we can. So one question I see coming up is regularly is, what are the teaching styles? How is the teaching done in Europe? Well, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's still medical school across the world is the same approximately, because medicine is medicine wherever you go in the world. Whether you study medicine in America, in the UK, in Ireland, or in Bulgaria, Romania, Poland, Georgia, the human body looks the same wherever you go. And the majority of medical universities, they use the same textbooks. The same textbooks that are written, so for example, Gray's Anatomy for anatomy, all the famous books, they're used across the world by the majority of universities. And usually we will support you and help you with finding plenty of resources when you get started with us. So you can prepare and read up before you even start the course. You can hit the ground running. So to talk a little bit about the teaching style and the methods, usually you should expect to have this discussion-based learning, where it's a discussion between you and the teacher. Just like, for example, in the UK, you're expected to come to class, you would have read ahead on the topic. For example, let's say you're studying anatomy today. You're learning about bones. The teacher will expect you to read ahead, come prepared for the class. They will do a short presentation or a talk, and then also they will begin a discussion where they will start to understand your knowledge so you can see where your gaps are. And then they will also guide you with where your gaps are in knowledge. Now, it depends also on the university. Now, year 1 to 3 is usually preclinical information, which is theory-based. It's not so medicine-oriented. It's mostly the basics of medicine, like anatomy, science, histology, embryology, these kinds of theoretical subjects, biochemistry, biology, physics, maths, biology, physics, chemistry, these kinds of subjects. This is to prepare you for the clinical years, which then you will start to build on that knowledge from year 4 to 6, where you will start to have practical hands-on experience with patient contact. You start to apply all that knowledge from the preclinical years. Now, it's really good in the aspect that, for example, one university, the European University, which we spoke about regularly here, the European University in Tbilisi. The great thing about this university is that we sat down with the university and we helped them and assisted them with creating a program that is extremely similar to a UK-based style of teaching, where the program and the curriculum is very similar to UK universities. And this is one of the first few universities that has agreed to do something like this. So to provide a similar teaching methods and similar style to the UK, where you have to go attend, you have OSCE exams, OSCE stations. Now, what is OSCE? Some students may ask. OSCE is usually it's usually common in UK universities, where it's a clinical scenarios where students go into a clinical setting and they are presented with a clinical case, and then they have to diagnose, treat, and present all the information that they've gathered, putting it all into one problem, which is called problem-based learning. Problem-based learning is basically finding the problem and you working towards the solution. This is the best way to learn. Now, the best thing is that the university has worked to create a very similar structure to the UK, where from early on in the years, where you don't have to wait until year 4 to start practicals. You start practicals, you start to have some patient contact even from the early years. And that's something we really like about the university, because they start to help the student in that aspect. Another university, for example, in Serbia, which is the University of Niš, they also have started providing more practical experience in the younger years to build the confidence of students as well. These are really good universities. I really like them personally because we've looked at them and we've assessed these universities, we've vetted them to make sure that you're going to have the best quality of education. So I really do advise you to get in touch with us so we can answer your questions in a more personal way based on what you're asking. I'm trying to be as general as I can because we have literally hundreds of questions asking similar questions, but in different formats. So if you have another question, do let us know. We'll try to answer it. We don't want to go too much over time. I think we've now closed 2 hours. Is there any other questions from the advisors that you'd like to answer, or any students
Yes.
would like to answer?
Yes, there's some questions. There's so many. We would love to sit here and answer them all. Brilliant questions as well. This is a question that's coming in, and I think someone like Dana would be perfect for this as well. We get asked, when can I apply? And this is one of the questions that's coming in, or how. So Dana, can you tell us a bit about when the students can apply?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, by the way. Many students are asking this. I've seen it in the Q&A. And some students are asking if I want to apply for 2022, if I'm graduating this year, if I'm finishing my A-levels this year. Many students think that they need to wait until they finish their A-levels. Universities in Europe have a specific number of seats for international students. They have a quota number of seats based on their capacity. Each university has a specific number. So the sooner you apply, the better it is. And we have more time to prepare the documents. And if there's any document required from your side, you have enough time to prepare it. And the more time we have, the more time our doctors will be able to create a more competitive file for you, a more professional file. And you will also have more time to prepare for the entrance exam. Some universities require entrance exams, and we're going to give you the material to prepare for that exam. So the more you prepare, the better you perform. So the earlier we apply, the better it is. The answer is, let's start now. That's it from here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Dana. So another question that we are being asked as well is if we support students that perhaps aren't fortunate enough to afford tuition fees. And I know we deal with students as well like that. Everything is done on a case by case. Tom, can you come in and tell us a bit about how you would deal with, students that aren't fortunate enough to afford the fees?
Yeah, of course. So with our years of experience, we can give you lots of tips and tricks of how students in the past, some amazing stories of how students have gathered the funds, been able to get themselves through medical school. Now, bear in mind that, some areas, £10,000 a year is not affordable for a lot of people. And that's why options like the European University in Georgia are very popular, because that's less than half the cost, even less than half the cost of what you'd pay somewhere like the UK, for native UK students. Now, there's a lot of misinformation online with things like this. There's a lot of companies that will say, sign this piece of paper and you can borrow the money from us, and you're not really sure which company they're from, who they're represented by, or what their regulations are. So I would say, just as a word of warning, be a little bit careful with companies that will advertise borrowing money for student loans and things like that. Now, when it comes to it, we always advise to get advice from your local bank in your own country, where you know the regulations, you know the bank, you trust them, and there's not going to be any hidden things, because we've really heard some horror stories in the past when it comes to financials. But yeah, the other thing that's good is just to look at the affordable options. The living costs in these countries as well can be astonishing compared to what you're used to in a lot of Western Europe, UK, America. Places to live over here. I know a few students that work over the few months that they have back at home in the summer, and that pays for all of their rent for the whole study year back in the country that they're studying in, which is just an incredible thing to be able to do when you think about it. So there are options available. You just got to be able to see them. And we've had these experiences. Most of our team have been through it themselves. They've had to get the money together. We have affordable options, and we have a wealth of student stories of students who have been able to overcome this in different ways. and we can share these with you and try to help you and guide you into getting into the medical school and being able to afford it. Thanks, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that. And like you say, we do everything to support you in every step of the way, you know, from finances to making sure that you have that support when you're there as well. Speaking of finances, another thing we're getting asked as well is, well, how much do you charge Medlink students? And I think I'd like to bring back Osman to tell you a bit more about our services and what all of this would cost. Osman?
Yes, brilliant. So as Tom was speaking about earlier, is that we offer so much support for the student. The sole purpose and spirit of our organization is to facilitate the process for you, to use our expertise, our knowledge, our connections in Europe to speed up and also make easier the process for you. So while, yes, anyone can apply with the university directly, students should understand that there are still costs associated with getting admission into a university. So for example, you have your high school certificates. You have to legalize your high school certificate in your country. And usually this is done by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or in the UK, the Commonwealth Office. And usually this is a complicated process that we support you with. You also have to certify your documents in order to do that. You also have to translate your documents. And then on top of that, send your documents using a good trackable courier, for example, DHL. Also, all of this, usually all these steps, they cost money. You have to make apostilles on the documents. You have to prepare your documents. You have to put a file together. Usually, sometimes universities will insist that you go and hand in your documents in person. All these things, they have expenses alongside the journey. Now, what we've done is we've set up a good, strong network across Europe for every country, for every single application, every single applicant that comes to us, to make the process as efficient and as cheap as possible, while still achieving the same results as anyone would expect. Now, we've been operating for over 7 years, helping thousands of students. Every single year, we get thousands of students who contact us, asking us to help them, asking us to guide them based on our expertise, based on our team who you've seen here, expert advisors who've helped all these students who have been on the webinar, plus all the others that also we've helped. Not everyone, you see, not everyone's as brave as our students here who joined and turned on their cameras. Some people are camera shy, so you could be one of these students, and we would love for you to be one of these students who go abroad and inspire other students to come abroad as well. Now, back to the main question is that what we do is we try to keep our fee as low as possible while still supporting you, having a solid team to look after you on the ground as well, and to assist you throughout your time in Europe. We put whatever we can and all the resources we can to keep that price as low as we can. Now, it does depend on several factors, on how much work is required, for example, what kind of support we're offering you. So the amount is really subjective. And what we do is we promise to keep it as low as we can, to still give you the full support and cover the expenses necessary to get you that acceptance letter. Because it says it's not as simple as getting from A to B, there are also many, many steps in between. Now, we will focus on doing all that work, so you don't have to lift a finger. All you do is you contact us, speak to an advisor, they will guide you, they will tell you how we can help you, what we can do for you, and then after that, it's your choice. What we do is we prepare an agreement between us and you, where we promise you admission into the university. And if you don't get admission into the university, we usually refund your money, because we stand where we put our money where our mouth is, basically, as we say in the UK. We stand by our word that we will do everything we can to maximize your chances of getting accepted into university. All right, back to you, Edmund.
Oh, actually, thank you, Osman. I think whilst we're on here, as you've been through the process yourself, as we're finishing, I mean, I would like to thank every single one of you guys that have joined us and spent 2 hours with us, and spending the evening and trying to get some insight. Hopefully, tonight has inspired you to take the step at least, and we're just a phone call away. What advice would you give sort of everyone that's been here to listen and watch and take some information? What advice would you give them to kind of close off of tonight?
First of all, I commend you on being brave enough to even consider going abroad. I remember when I was thinking about going abroad, it took me 3 years to build up that courage to go abroad. And I wish I had someone like Edmund or Tom, for example, who would guide me and tell me, you know, it's not so bad. It is actually a great option, where I thought that studying in the UK is guaranteed to have me work in the UK, where it's a safe option. But being safe is not always the best option, because also you should step out of your comfort zone. The best thing that has happened to me, hands down, is that I built up that courage after 3 years, though, applying over and over in the UK and always struggling with the interviews, like I was telling you guys earlier, is that I built up that courage. I came abroad. I'll be honest with you, the first week was not the best week. It was a big struggle, acclimatizing, the language barrier, adapting to a new environment. But the best thing about Medlink is that the reason we set this organization up, is because we saw how tough it is to go abroad all alone, into a country you've never set foot in, into a language you've never even been exposed to. That's why we will come in. We will help you. We will assist you. From the moment you land in the airport to the moment that you graduate, we'll be with you every single step of the way. And who better to be with you every single step of the way other than a medical doctor or a medical student who studies alongside you in the same course, who can advise you and tell you about how you can survive medical school. Because I promise you, it is tough. It is a huge specialty. And it's not easier, it's not tougher than other countries. It's the same. The human body looks the same wherever you go. So you will have plenty of struggles, but you're gonna have all the support you need, all the help you need. Every single person who has done it has loved the majority have loved their experience. And I see here so many inspirational students who have been brave enough to join us on today's webinar, who have been courageous, who have taken that leap of faith and gone to Europe. And you can see none of them look back. They all love it. They all really enjoy it. We'll be with you every single step of the way. Be courageous, explore the options, learn as much as you can about the options, the universities, by speaking as much as possible with Tom, Edmund, Dana, all our advisors, even the advisors not on this webinar. Our team are specialists. They have helped so many people and they can help you. But it's up to you. You have to build up that courage to get on the phone and speak to them.
Just can't wait for you guys to speak with us. And well, a lot of the questions that are coming in, what we will say is, please write them all down and book an appointment with us. We're happy to speak with you. We're happy to answer all the questions. Whether you're a parent, whether you've been to a few of these webinars and you're still not sure, please submit an inquiry. Let's have a catch up. Let's talk to you about the options that are out there for you, because we guarantee that, and we're very confident that we'll find something that's most suitable for you. And don't hesitate to you guys to actually click and scan the attendance today so you can get your certificate. And the recording will also be available on our YouTube channel for you guys to rewatch. Thank you so much for everyone that's attended tonight. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you to everyone.